Hey everybody, Safi and Marco dish out on movies. The only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And I'm just Marco here once again. And if you guys are wondering why I sound like, I don't know, probably really bad. I sound like that because I've just experienced yet another terrible 2022 movie. Terrible, 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 terrible. Okay? Terrible movie. I just watched Jurassic World Dominion. Whatever that means. I I I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, there's just so many times I can say the same old things. It sucked. It was really bad. It was really, really, really bad. It was a typical 2022 movie. It had some agendas in it. It was disappointing. It wasn't a Jurassic Park movie at all. It was lame. The jokes were bad. Just what else, like, what, how many times do I just say those same things? It's like I'm a robot and I'm programmed to say those things or something, because I don't know what I just don't know what they're doing anymore in Hollywood. I just don't know what they're thinking. It's almost like every movie has to be nearly the same so that they can have this risk-free, playing it safe environment. Even the movies that disguise themselves as playing it safe, like that Crimes of the Future movie, that movie was playing it safe too, completely. It didn't gross me out at all. In fact, I was eating dinner while I watched Crimes of the Future, and I was so bored I was about to fall asleep. This movie, this was torture. I have never felt entitled to ask for my money back from seeing a movie. I've always felt like, you see a movie, that's your fault. You went to see it. You went to go see that movie. So it's your fault. You can deal with it, because that's just how it works sometimes. Sometimes movies are bad, and you can't always predict, oh, that movie's going to be really good, really bad. You just buy a ticket and you deal with it. But this is probably the first time in movie history where I have legitimately felt like asking for my money back, because, wow. And I'm so glad Safi didn't watch this. I decided to spare Safi because, she's still looking for an item that she can't find, and so she has to spend all day doing that for a million years now. This movie, for starters, it just sucked. It just sucked really badly. It's another one of those 4-quadrant, pleasing, blockbuster, generic crap movies. There's really nothing to like about this movie except for Jeff Goldblum. He's literally the only thing there is to like in this movie, and he's hardly, well, he's in it a little bit, but he's not in it a lot compared to, what you'd like him to be. But he was literally the only good thing about the movie. Everything and everyone else was trash. The original one was so good. It's a classic movie. It's a deep movie. It's a very, very smart yet fun movie. And in fact, you have the same old shit with what people say about this movie nowadays, where they say, it's a dumb, fun dinosaur movie. Why do you have all these high expectations? Just turn your brain off and act like you have an IQ of 10. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because you don't have to do that with the original Jurassic Park. You don't have to pretend like you're mentally retarded when you watch Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park. And the fact that you have to for a sequel is just insulting. It's insultingly bad, and there's nothing dumb or fun in this movie. I mean, to call it dumb fun, that would require for it to be entertaining. There's nothing entertaining in this entire 2.5-hour movie. It was a complete waste of time, money, and effort. Like, all the energy spent making this movie should have been spent making a good movie. Because I really think Jurassic World was okay. I enjoyed seeing it in theaters. It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I think it's a lot of fun, and it definitely feels like a Jurassic Park movie. Although it has a little bit of too much of the Mimba moments in that movie, like lots and lots of Mimba berries moments where you just wish, like, oh, please, just let's have something original for once nowadays. But then the sequel, I didn't even bother seeing the sequel because I literally don't care. Like, the first one, it was so dumb and it was so, it was brainless. It was a brainless, fun popcorn movie. And so I thought, there's no reason to see the sequel. And then after the sequel came out, something was actually good in the sequel, I guess, which was Bryce Dallas Howard. She is, like, I think that her nickname should be, like, Queen Marshmallow or something, because she's just, like, one big, giant, puffy marshmallow actress, and, like, she has probably, like, one of the top 5 asses in Hollywood, and her ass in Jurassic World 2 is probably one of the greatest things that I've ever seen on screen. And what's sad is that I didn't see that movie. Like, that's the one I chose not to see. The only stuff I've seen from that movie is the clips and the pictures on YouTube, and so that's unfortunate. But other than that, who cares about that crap movie? This movie is even worse. This movie is the worst Jurassic Park movie I've ever seen. I have not seen the original movie's sequels either, so, you know, I'm very picky when it comes to Jurassic Park, because I really didn't even ever need to see a sequel, honestly, but I understand nowadays the need for one. It's just that they screwed it up so badly that I don't even really care anymore. Like, that's what happens nowadays, and that's the sad reality of Hollywood nowadays, is that they're going to screw, and they like this. You know, the feminazis like this. As I've said before, they're terrorists. They're cultural terrorists. Because what they like to do is they like to destroy all the past culture, and they like to ruin it. They like to, you know, have these shitty new things like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, Miss Marvel. They like to have all these things that just completely shit all over the culture of what it used to be like with movies and TV shows before the feminazis came along and ruined everything. And then what they do after that is say, uh-oh, we destroyed all your culture. So now the only thing you have left is our culture, which we're going to force into everything and just build over everything from the past with our shitty new stuff, which is pretty much non-existent. Like, all the stuff that feminazis make is basically bargain bin other movie. Like, Promising Young Feminazi, you guys really think that Promising Young Feminazi is the only rape revenge movie to ever exist? No. It is a bargain bin version of all those other rape revenge movies from the 70s. Last House on the Left, I Spit on Your Grave, The Virgin Spring. The list goes on, you know, but since, okay. And this movie it's a part of that, though, because this movie is doing nothing but destroying the culture of the past so that they can build their shitty new things on top of it. Okay, I hate this movie. I genuinely hate this movie. I hate everything about it. I hate the characters. I hate the story. What was the story? What was the story in this movie? There's a guy, a bad guy, and a bad company, and some bad dinosaurs, and some good dinosaurs, and that's it. That's this movie. What the fuck was that? Who wanted this? Who wanted this shit? We could have gotten so many other good Jurassic Park movies. This isn't a Jurassic Park movie. It's a Jurassic shit movie. This is, remember the gif of Jeff Goldblum standing in front of the giant pile of shit? That's this movie. This movie's trash. I mean, it's just so bad. It's just so bad. Why do you have to do this? Why do you have... It's hard to try to make something bad. But somehow, Hollywood, they try to make everything bad. I mean, just everything from this year. There has only been... Guys, this is how bad it is. Out of the 26 movies that I've seen this year, there are only 6 movies out of those that are any good, that are worth anything. 6 movies. What are they thinking? Okay, I'm pissed off. This movie pissed me off. What was the point of this movie? Why did people have to pay money to go see this shit? Why did they to go see Sam Neill and Laura Dern in a costume? To see them doing some fucking 1990s nostalgia cosplay? What in the world? Why? Okay? Why? Because what was I don't even care. I don't even care. Because it's a waste of time even talking about this movie. It was just so painful, though, to sit through this movie. They took all the sexiness out of this movie, and that's another thing, too. After that second one, I was excited to see Queen Marshmallow on the screen. She is basically female Stay Puft Marshmallow. I was so excited to see her on screen. I was so excited. I paid the theater money to see this movie. I paid them money. Hard-earned money. And I know that doesn't seem like a big deal because we're all just so, just full of it nowadays where it's like, yeah, you should just turn your brain off and like this shitty movie because there's some fun dinosaur moments in it. It's like, fuck off with that shit. This was 2.5 hours of trash. And it's just, they sucked out all the sexiness. There's nothing sexy in this movie. It's fuck ugly. The whole movie's a computer-generated pile of shit. The whole movie's just it's just so ugly. This movie's so ugly and gross looking. It's like a pile of CGI sludge. In a fucking blender with some fucking sculptures of dinosaurs just swirling around in the blender, and then you drink it, and then you puke it all out, and then you fucking do some Matilda finger painting all over it and paint the Jurassic Park logo. That's this movie. That's what this movie looks like. It looks like a fucking puddle of vomit. Looks like a puddle of CGI vomit in comparison to Top Gun 2, which was fully practical. Obviously, there's not real dinosaurs, but guess what? You know what there is? Animatronics. And guess what? Every single dinosaur in this movie looked like shit. They had a giant locust in this movie, too. Looked like shit. Everything in this movie looked horrible. Even the supposed pretty boy blockbuster stars. You got Chris Pratt, and I'm not gonna say anything bad about Chris Pratt because he's already got a bunch of mangy, ugly ass, bitch ass SJWs after him for no reason. I'm not gonna get on him. But you got the Maisie girl. She looks like a fashion model. She's running around, getting dirty, getting scratched up, getting kidnapped by an evil scientist government lab place, and somehow they like make her look like a model or something, and it's horrible. It's so fake and disingenuous. And then you got the agenda characters, you got the agenda pilot woman, and she's a lesbian, and so that's her story. She's a lesbian pilot. She's like, I like redheads too. Like, that's her whole contribution to the movie, is just, having the agenda of having the little checkbox, check, there's our token lesbian, check, there's our token black, check. That's this movie. It's about checking off all the boxes, checking off all the nostalgia boxes. Oh, look, there's Sam Neill, there's Laura Dern, Mamba, there's Jeff Goldblum, Mamba. There's Woo, and Woo has long hair this time. Woo! Check. Oh, look, there's a dinosaur for about 5 fucking seconds. Check. And that's this movie. Check, 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 check. And if you like that kind of shit, if you like that kind of dumbed down, trash, cheap, mediocre 2022 blockbuster type of thing, you like that mashed potato of trash, you're gonna love this movie. You're gonna love this dumb, brainless movie. But if you like movies with story, if you like movies with character, with plot, with anything respectable in a fucking film, then you're gonna hate this movie with a passion. And if you hate this movie with a passion, then come on over here and let's have a fucking party. And let's watch the good Jurassic Park, the first one. And then, you know what else would be probably better? Is there like a fucking Jurassic Park porn parody? And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna watch the porn parody and I'm gonna do a commentary of it. And I can guarantee that the porn parody is better than this movie. This movie was... It just... I have never been so angry about a movie before. It is infuriating. And the fact that I wanted to stay. I wanted to sit through the movie. I wanted to, just stay through the whole thing. I'm a reviewer. I have to be, a true reviewer. I can't just, bail on things and just, leave in the middle of a movie. And it was torture. Remember the scene in A Clockwork Orange where Alex is fucking tied up and his eyes are taped open, and he's got the metal clamps holding his eyeballs open, and he's like screaming at the top of his lungs in pure agony and misery and pain? That's me watching this entire movie. From the very beginning of this movie, I was like, what in the F is going on here? What were they thinking? There's nothing good about this movie. That's my conclusion. There's nothing good. You know what else? You know what else this movie felt like? This movie felt like a fucking trash triathlon. You know why? Because for some reason, modern action movies... You know what old action movies used to have? Well, they'd have hot chicks. That's number one. But number two, they'd have fucking kick-ass action. They'd have great set pieces. They'd have great villains. Oh yeah, you want to talk about great villains? This movie's villain was just a fucking saggy ball dressed up in a suit with fucking glasses on the nut head. Like, this villain, like, he's just some old white guy. And he's like the most generic villain I've ever seen. And he was trash. And speaking of action, though, modern action movies have a different definition of what it means to be an action movie. Okay? Nowadays, to be an action movie, essentially what it means is you have these characters who nobody cares about. Like, who cares about these stupid characters? Who even cares about Sam Neill or Laura Dern? Who cares? It's been fucking 40 years. They're 30 years, whatever the fuck. You know, it's gone now. You know, that magic is over. You know, they've ruined that with all the fucking sequels and all the things that they've done they've ruined that. So there's no good characters, but you have these characters who, you know, they're all a bunch of stereotypes. So you have the nerd stereotype. You have the strong, badass woman stereotype. And you have the alpha male stereotype. And you have, I don't know, like the fat guy stereotype. They didn't even have a fat guy stereotype in this one. Thankfully, they did in Moonfall, and and that one was so bad that that's what I talked about the whole review. But you know what? Moonfall. I'm going insane. Movies are these bad movies. They're making me go insane. I swear. But the fact that the Moonfall movie was actually a million times better than this trash movie. Like, honestly, Moonfall deserved all the money that this fucking movie is making. That's for damn sure. But to me, modern action movies, their definition of an action movie is you have this cast of stereotypes and they're thrown into an environment and then they have to do some sort of a fitness challenge. Like, so they have to run from something and then they run to like a station where there's like some guys who give them exposition. And then they have to do another fitness challenge to get to the next environment. Like, they have to go swimming. They have to jump out an airplane. They have to fucking get on a train. And then they're at another exposition place. And then maybe somebody gets kidnapped and taken to an exposition place. And then they do some more running and some more fitness activities. And that's what this movie feels like. Like, this movie feels like just one long, like, fitness challenge. Like, the characters in this movie, they just go from one place to the next, running, crawling, jumping, swinging, plane riding, flying, I mean. And, like, that's literally the whole movie. Like, it's just so fucking stupid. And there's hardly any dinosaurs in the movie. So you know what movie this really reminded me of, though? Like, if I could compare this to one movie, guess what I would say? Exorcist 2, The Heretic. Okay, so if you guys know how bad The Exorcist 2, The Heretic is, that's this movie, to a T. So if you guys like The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, you're gonna love this movie. My food rating, I would give this movie, there's really nothing bad enough that I can give this movie to, like, express my disappointment and frustration. I mean, I could have reviewed so many movies and I chose to review this one. Like, I could have spent time watching something good, and instead I had to spend all the time watching this, and that's what pisses me off. Okay? Because I'm a reviewer, you know, I can't do the thing that I used to do where I would listen to critics and I'd say, yeah, fuck that movie, I'm not seeing that movie. I'm just so disappointed. So bad. You know what? There was this Mexican restaurant near us, and it's really bad. Unfortunately, you know, I really love Mexican food a lot. I love Mexican women, too. I love Mexican everything. Mexicans are awesome. But anyways, like, there's this really shitty Mexican place, and this one time I went there and I ordered nachos for lunch, and I just thought it'd be fun to have. I think it was like a partying type of lunch experience, like, let's have a nice celebratory lunch over something. And I got these nachos, and they were the worst nachos I've ever had, and they were just buried in layers and layers of sour cream and all this gross stuff, and I couldn't even really tell what was in it. And the worst thing about it, though, was there was hardly any nacho cheese at all, like any cheese sauce. There was hardly any cheese sauce, and to me, that's unforgivable. When you have nachos, the number one thing you want is a cheese sauce of some kind. And there was, oh yeah, and then there was steak, I think. Ugh, it was so gross. The nacho chips were soggy, they were soft, they were just, like, it was like eating little pieces of toilet paper, with some fucking sour cream and stuff all, like, it was the worst nachos I've ever had. And that was this movie. It was just an assortment of trash. And, like, I can't even really express how bad this movie is. Like, you just have to see it for yourself. But I just don't torture yourself like that. Like, don't torture yourself by watching this horrible movie. That's the real thing to do. So anyways, here's spoilers. Besides the fact that there wasn't anything hot in the movie, which really disappointed me because, you know, to have, and this is another thing too that pisses me off, all these modern movies, they have these really beautiful actresses and they totally waste them. They waste their talent. I mean, even beside the fact that there wasn't any hot moments with Bryce Dallas Howard, there wasn't any good acting either. Like her and Chris Pratt, all the stars, none of them had anything good. Like they're all kind of the same character. They're all just like the same blockbuster character where they can tell you exposition. They can scream and run and be upset about something. They can instruct you to do something. You know, they're just very one-dimensional stereotype characters. But the other thing is that there wasn't really any action, any dinosaurs in the whole movie. There was a couple here and there, but it was essentially like a Godzilla movie, like a modern Godzilla movie where there's no dinosaurs in the whole movie, even though it's a fucking Godzilla movie. That's what this was like, except for near the end. Near the end, they had this really dumb, boring, snooze fest fight. This whole movie was a snooze fest. I wanted to sleep. I wanted to just stop watching this movie, and I couldn't because I had to review it. But this final fight, like, it was so bad. Like, the fight in the first Jurassic World movie, that was pretty good. Like, I liked that. You know, I liked how she brought out the T-Rex to fight him, and that was really cool, actually. I liked that. But this was, like, just really stupid. And you had these two dinosaurs, and they had the villain. Now, you guys aren't going to believe this. The villain dinosaur walks up to this circle thing, this monument statue thing that sits in front of this science building, and the dinosaur, like, bends forward, and his head fits into the circle for a second so that he can look like the fucking logo of the movie. I mean, that is how bad, like, that's how bad this movie is that's what they did. You know, Jeff Goldblum, he starts a forest fire to try to stop the dinosaurs. Just, ugh. And then at the end of the movie, probably one of the funniest things I've seen all year is that at the end of the movie, they had this montage where the strong young female scientist, Maisie, she narrates over this documentary sequence where all the dinosaurs are living in peace and harmony with all the animals in the world. And it was just the most, like, stupidest thing I've ever seen. It was so dumb. It was like just this montage of all these dinosaurs like swimming and running in the sunset, and it was like, wow, this is the gayest shit ever. Like, just what were they thinking? Because you know that this movie was written by like 50 plus people who all had different opinions about what this movie should have been. But they had to end with like the most stupidest montage of like, looked like a nature documentary thing, and it was so bad. And then I was gonna say something else, but I just forgot. So anyways, oh, thank God that's over. Thank God. Oh, that was horrible. That was torture. Like, I had a root canal last year in March, and honestly, getting root canal was better than watching this movie. So that's how bad this movie is. So please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought of this piece of shit movie, and then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest reviews, because when I do a review, I'm honest about my thoughts and opinions. I don't turn my brain off and enjoy dumbass shit because I'm a sheeple, you know. So anyways, goodbye everybody, see you soon.